So, you're looking to start playing Smite in 2022. Well, you are in the right place. Having introduced many friends to the game, I decided to put together my 7 beginner tips for getting started in Smite, Battleground of the Gods. First things first, you'll need to understand what a MOBA is. If you already know this, then great. Go ahead and skip to part 2. Timestamps are in the description below. For the rest of you, let me quickly explain the pieces of the MOBA puzzle, so you can get started on your journey to godhood. MOBA is an acronym for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. The first bit, Multiplayer Online, just means you play it with other people. The latter part is the focus here, Battle Arena. It means you're going to be confined in an area with enemy players, and there will be a goal to determine who wins the battle, but it will certainly include fighting. Most MOBAs have 2 main ways to power up, so you are more likely to win said fights. That is to upgrade your abilities and to buy powerful items. To do either of these, you will need to do what we call farming, which is attacking and killing enemy players or the enemy computer-controlled minions to gain gold and experience points. Think of defeating a Pokemon trainer. Your Pokemon gain experience points and you gain gold to buy shiny new items for them. It's a little bit like that. With your newfound experience points, you will level up your 4 abilities. Some of them do damage, some of them give you movement, there's a huge variety of things they can do. But for now, make sure you have auto leveling turned on, and the game will make sure you're doing this right, so you can focus on clicking on the bad guys. With your pockets now full of gold, we can also look at items. These will increase the stats of your god, making them hit harder, or be harder to kill, or move faster, etc. Again, as with abilities, as a new starter I highly recommend leaving on auto purchase items. The game will do as good a job as it can to make sure you have the right items, while you learn the game, and you can always turn this off at a later date. With your god now stronger thanks to your farming, it is time to think about winning the game, and for that you need to complete the major objective. This differs depending on your game mode, so I guess now is a good time to cover that. Tip number 2. Experiment with the different game modes. Smite isn't just your typical MOBA, there are many game modes available, and they're all pretty much popular for their own reasons. This gives the more casual player so many options in Smite, as most of these modes can be super fun to just hop in and play without worrying about some huge strategical mind game to play. I highly recommend you try a bunch of these modes out to find out which one you will make your home. The first one you will experience, and the game mode you should focus on while you learn the very basics of the game, is Arena. It is definitely the most newer player friendly, and your objective is simple: kill enemy gods and minions, and try to make your minions walk through the enemy portal or goal. Minions will walk down the middle of this circular map, fighting one another in the centre, but if there is nothing to fight, they will run into your enemy portal, which is right next to where they spawn, scoring 1 point. So it is your job to defend this goal. Think of it like God Football, only us mortals are the ball. However, in God Football you can score 5 points if you kill an enemy god. After all, you gods are far more important than a mere mortal, so try to kill the enemy gods while defending your portal from their minions. Once you're happy with your understanding of game mechanics, hop over to Assault, which unlocks at account level 15. This is similar to ARAM from League of Legends if you're familiar with that. Basically, there is a single lane defended by 3 turrets. Once you leave the base, you cannot buy more items and you cannot go back to heal, you are stuck out there. It is a little bit like MOBA meets survival game, only in this mode, the gods are randomized. As well as being a fun mode to understand and play through, getting to play random gods means you'll start to understand how some of the other gods work. Conquest is the other mode I can recommend. It is the classic MOBA experience. 3 lanes, 5 roles, 10 gods, 1 objective. Defeat the enemy titan. If you aren't familiar with the normal MOBA mode, then that might require its own entire video. So I can only really recommend this if you have MOBA experience, or if you have the patience to learn a more complicated game mode. There are plenty of other modes, like the 3v3 Joust map, or the new Slash mode, which I'm enjoying for the first time too. So, by all means, give them all a go, and figure out which you like best. Tip number 3 is play the right gods, and this is probably the biggest tip I can give a new player. Not all Smite gods are created equal. Quite a few of the over 100 gods are specifically created to be challenging for more experienced players. Thankfully, after onboarding a fair few new players myself, I've discovered a list of gods that are typically easier to do well with early on in your Smite career. Now, when you load into Smite for the first time, you will have a number of gods already available to you. There will be a number of gods on rotation as well, which is a free selection of gods that changes over time, and then the set of free gods that you own in their entirety. These fully free gods are Ares, Artemis, Bellona, Guan Yu, Kukulkan, Neith, Nemesis, Ra, Thor, and Ymir. Now, just because these are the free starter gods does not mean they are the easiest to learn on. In fact, in my own group we have something known as the Ra Curse, where virtually any Ra we see in any game will struggle because it is actually a very difficult god to master. With that in mind, here are my top gods for each role that you should unlock early, because they are so damn good for beginners. For Guardians, we pick up Ganesha. This chunky elephant has a great damage and crowd control to protect your allies, but also allows you to make your own impact. For Hunters, Neith is actually a great start. She has one of the easiest escapes for a Hunter, her third ability, her sort of backwards somersault. But if you want to try something else, then Kurnanos and Cupid are also great options. For Mages, without a doubt, it is Discordia. Not only does she have a nice escape too, on top of a simple yet fun kit, but her passive gives the best player in your team even more damage. So even if you aren't able to help much, you're making your carry much stronger, meaning there's less pressure on you and you can continue learning the game. Of course, as you get better, you'll end up being the best player in your team and giving yourself your passive, so she's not necessarily a new player only god either. Assassins was a tough one. They are typically the trickiest, as they have to get in close but they aren't very survivable. I've gone with Susano here, because again he's a highly mobile god and has quite a simple kit with strong damage and crowd control. Finally, my main class, the warrior. I have every single one of these tanks maxed out at diamond level, so you can really trust me here. Chuck is excellent to start with. He has simple damage and great self-heal, but he quickly falls off once you've learnt the game. At that point, you want to consider Achilles or Hercules as great aggressive warriors to learn. I do have an extra bonus tip for you here too. As you unlock gods with favour, you may spot that while most of them cost 5,500, there are a couple of cheaper ones. So if you simply want the most gods for your money, pick up Agni, Cupid and Hades. Tip number 4, understanding your role in the game. Specific roles fit largely into the classes of Smite. Some gods can fit into other roles, but that's an entirely different video. Let me know if you want more Smite guide content back on the channel, by the way, in the comments, or maybe even by liking the video. The support role, or Guardian class, it is your job to protect the weak, typically your Hunter. They will struggle early on in the game, but they get very strong later on. In fights, focus on your Hunter and Mage and make sure no one is bothering them. If any enemy gets too close, kill them. The ADC, attack damage carry role, or Hunter class. You need to farm up. Remember tip number 1, farming? Well, do a lot of that. Get a lot of items and then start basic attacking enemies in fights. Your basic attacks hit harder than most abilities in the later game, so focus on hitting those. You're also the main source of damage against enemy towers and other objectives, so make sure you play around your team later on in the game. The mid role, or Mage class. You are the big bursty damage in teamfights. You need to play around your warrior, guardian and assassin, and if they start a fight, you damn better well finish it. You need to play from a safe distance though, so try to always keep an ally between you and the bad guys. The jungle role, or assassin class. Your job changes slightly between game modes, but typically you are an engager. You or your warrior will start a fight and the other one will hop in to assist. You should focus on the enemy hunter or mage and try to eliminate them before they can do any damage. The solo role, or warrior class. Your job is to be annoying. While the assassin tries to execute the enemy hunter or mage, it is your job to just annoy the mage or hunter. Get in their way, stop them from doing what they want to do, and if possible, kill them as well. Alright, tip number 5, and we're on to some quick fire ones now. The VGS system. Smite has an in-game communication system called the VGS. On PC, this is default accessed with V. On console, it is the down button on the D-pad. This will open up a button combination window where you have hundreds of in-game communication options. It isn't super important to know early on, but make sure you listen out for your allies' calls. And if you really want to learn some, then enemy missing is a good starter. That's VFF on PC, circle R1R1 on PS4, BRBRB on Xbox One, and ARR on Nintendo Switch. Tip number 6, choose how to cast your spells. In Smite, as well as many MOBAs, the way you fire off a spell or ability can be changed. In Smite, you can physically change this for each ability, even in the middle of a match, by going to the skill screen by pressing K on PC. Your options for casting spells are normal, where you press the ability and then click to fire at any point, quick, where you press the key to fire an ability, and as soon as you let go of that key it triggers, and instant, where you won't even see a targeting overlay the second you press that ability, it fires in that direction. The latter certainly sounds scary, but I promise you for dashes, leaps and other escapes, having this on instant cast has saved me so many times. But personally, I tend to keep most other things on quick cast. And finally, a bonus tip for number 7, your ally ultimate information. Do you want to engage in a fight or want to know if your team is looking to do so? Then take a look at the diamonds. Next to each god there is a small diamond. When it is black, it means the ally god does not have their all-powerful ultimate ability. And when it is a glowing white-blue colour, this means their ultimate ability is ready and waiting. Typically, if an ally has their ultimate, they'll be happy to fight when you're grouped up, and if the odds are at least even. However, if they don't have their ultimate, try to avoid equal or outnumbered fights if you think the enemy might have their ultimate ready as well. Of course, Smite is a game of skill, so you can win a fight without any ultimates. This is just a little rule of thumb to help you in your early days. And that concludes our beginner's guide to Smite. I hope that helps you dive in and enjoy the game. If you found the guide helpful, please drop us a like or comment and help make my day. And subscribe if you want more content like this. There are even some similar videos on screen you could check out. I've been Gamesplay Greg, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.